You are listening to Best in Seattle Real Estate with host Tina Mitchell, MLO 145420. This podcast is for real estate agents. Tina interviews the best of the best agents in the greater Seattle market. Learn strategies and the mindset needed to be your best. If you're looking to take your real estate business to the next level, this show is for you.
Welcome to Best in Seattle Real Estate Podcast, sponsored by Hubbard Radio Seattle. I am your host and local mortgage expert, Tina Mitchell. My show is with real estate agents for real estate agents. My lineup is exclusive and reserved for the best of the best in the greater Seattle real estate market based on closed transactions in the last 12 months. If you are a real estate agent looking to level up your game, you are in the right place. My guest today is here to share what he has learned over the years that has taken him to the top in the real estate field. Now in studio, Michael Carnovale of Alchemy Real Estate. Mike has closed in the last 12 months, he has closed 40 transactions, which earns him the title of industry leader and is the reason why he is here today sharing his secrets for success. Data provided and verified by MMI, Mobility Market Intelligence. Mike, thank you so much for joining my show this morning.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah, it's so great to have you here. I would also like to give a shout out and a big thank you to my producer over at Hubbard Radio, Benny.
Hi there, Tina, and welcome back. And just for our viewers, don't forget the QR code down below there. All right, everybody, don't forget it.
Great shout out, Benny. Thank you so much. Benny is
welcome.
the best producer ever, and I really appreciate everything you do behind the scenes.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. All right, before we get started with my official interview with Mike, I'd love to make an introduction. Mike has been a real estate broker since 2012. In the last 12 months, again, he's closed 40 transactions, which ranks him in the top 0.5% in the entire nation. Mike also owned Papa John's Pizza franchise in Eastern Washington, Idaho, Georgia, and South Carolina, 27 total locations from 1995 to 2022. Previous to that, Mike worked as general manager for Alderbrook Resort in Washington, general manager for Seabuck Hotel in Louisville, residential manager for Radisson Hotel in Lexington, and director for Hyatt Hotels. Michael has 3 degrees, BA in business, hotel administration, and criminal justice. Impressive credentials, Mike. Awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah. So first question I'd love to ask you, Mike, where does the majority of your business come from and how do you foster those relationships? What are you doing to have 40 transactions in what every real estate agent out there would say that this is probably the most challenging year that we've had since the financial meltdown when it comes to the number of opportunities that are available out there because of the short of inventory that we have. So what are you doing?
Well, this goes back to about 10, 12, when I first started in the business, because I'm more of a businessman, less of a real estate agent. I always look at the niche. And so what happened was years ago, I kept asking people, how do you get business in the real estate when I first started? And they were giving, well, you got to do cold calls, you got to do all this other stuff. And I kept thinking, well, my years of business, you have to go where the fish are swimming. And so I decided that I started doing open houses. They said, well, you'll get some clients, but buyers are really a pain. And I said, well, let me try it. So I went through a process and learned a couple things. One is that 60 to 70% of all buyers don't have agents, period. They just don't, or they don't care if their agent is not helping them. So that's number one. Number two, they want some niche, some way or another that gives them an edge. And so I went through a process. And so 90% of all my business, 90% comes from open houses. I still do, to this day, 150 to 160 open houses a year. And I pick up somewhere in the range every weekend, $3 to $8 million in potential clients who give me their information. Not me giving them my information, but they're giving me their information.
Yeah. Wow. So if I want to do a shout out here right now, if you were a real estate agent and you were listening to this show, I want you to listen to what Mike is saying because you can immediately take action and go and engage in open houses. Whether you have any listings or not, you can go to agents in your office that have listings that are looking for somebody to work those open houses. So Mike, what are you doing to foster that? Because there are so many agents that work at open houses and they get absolutely no traction at all.
Well, okay, so I start kind of back to an old school method versus the technology method. Most people nowadays are very fearful of sign-in sheets, electronic sign-in sheets, because they think you're going to go in a database. Yeah. Number two is when people come into the open house, I set them at ease. I joke with them, I kid with them, I tend to be light-hearted. I let them look through the house. I don't follow them around. I talk to them when they're done, and I ask one simple question: what do you think? That's all I say. 9 out of 10, I'll guarantee you, aren't interested in that house. They're just not interested. The one that is interested, I'll push like heck to try to sell it for the builder or the homeowner or whatever it is. But the 9 out of 10 will give me an adjective or something like, well, it's interesting, or this is not what we're looking for. Those are my potential fish, I call them. Mm-hmm. Then I decide if I want them as my client. The opposite, not that I need everybody. I want to know which one is going to be a good client for me. Then I ask them, what are you looking for? And they're shocked because most people don't ever really ask for the business. I'm asking for business. And then they tell me, and I have a hook. Over the years, I've developed about 200 off-market homes. I say, well, I've got some off-market homes. And they say, well, where can I get them from? I said, through me. And they say, oh, and I say, how, and I tell them kind of, well, there's one over on 5th Street or something that's similar to this house, in your price range. It's being built or whatever it is, but it's off market. And they go, oh, and they say, so what should we do? And I just hand them a yellow pad of paper. Give me your name, phone number, and email, and I'll get back to you. That's all I do.
That's awesome.
It's so simple. Yeah.
Yep. So let them talk, ask them one question. Are they interested in the home? Let them share. We've heard this many times. Let the conversation be about what they're telling us, not what we are saying to them. And you do that through asking strategic questions. And then take it from there. What is your niche, or what is something that you have that's a little bit different? So you need to think about that and what that plan's going to be. And then it's simple from there. Staying connected, providing the information. You don't have to have high technology and all of those things. So great answer, Mike. And thank you so much for sharing that. And I know that there's a real estate agent or many of them that are listening right now and going, okay, I've got a plan. I just need to get out there and work the plan. So love that. Mike, let's go ahead and shift to best tip that you have on sharing managing time, because doing 40 transactions in the last 12 months and you're working the open houses, you don't have a real estate agent you're sending out to that open house. You're actually physically going out there and doing this yourself, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
The one thing I did as I built my business, I got to 20 or 25 transactions. I brought another agent in with me. She does all my back of the house stuff. And the way I work with her, and this is a mistake all of these agents do, I've managed about 10,000 people in my life. So I know how to manage people, is that they don't pay enough to the other person helping them. Yeah. So what I do is she gets a percentage of everything I make. Yeah. She does really well. Yes. So the back house stuff where I don't make money on, that's all the paperwork stuff. I'll write my own contracts, but listing stuff, she'll do all that stuff. She'll do the back of the house so I can continue to sell. That's how I make more money. That's how I do this. Okay.
I love it. And we're so alike, Mike, because I drive the business and my team runs the business. And same thing, I pay a comparable salary to what a coordinator or the back end people would make, but they make a percentage of everything that I make. And I don't know anyone else that has a comp plan like I do in the percentages of my business. So they're all in that. So in managing your time, what Mike is saying, he embraces his strengths and hires out his weaknesses. So he goes out there and he brings in the business, and he lets his team take care of the business. You're doing the high level activities, which is connecting, right?
Correct.
Yeah. Wonderful. Any other tip on how you're managing your time, Mike?
Well, my kids are raised, that helps. They're not around.
Oh yeah, I hear you.
So I don't have to worry about the kids.
Yeah.
Since I've got 6 of them, but they're all raised and they're gone. So
Oh my golly.
except for one still around. She's a 15-year-old.
Well, I said that too. We've got the kids raised, but now we've got 2 grandbabies, and I'm same thing as I am the top 1% in the mortgage space. So
Yeah.
A little shout out for my business as well. But I only mention that because the kids are raised, but now we've got a newborn and a toddler from Friday morning until Saturday night. So
Yep.
we've got a house full of little ones, but you can still do the business that you want to do. And when you get to a level that you are the one that's bringing that business in and the team takes care of it, you can really have a great quality of life and do a great quality of business at the same time. So I love that, Mike.
And
go
so
ahead.
let me just finish. So what I was trying to say to finish it is I've always been very time management, and I don't waste time with bad clients. That's the first thing. What I watch these real estate agents do is someone that runs them around, but will never buy. You have to be able to let those people go. I tell all new agents when they come to me, because I let them learn what I do, is that you need 5 or 10 people all the time in your car, or not your car, but looking at houses with you, because you don't know which one's going to pull the string. And they're working on 1 or 2. 1 or 2 is not enough to survive. You need 5 or 10. Now I have 15 or 20 or 30 at times, and I just don't know who really is going to buy at that moment in time. Yeah. But the more numbers you get, the better it is.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a numbers game or an opportunities game. You just don't, like Mike said, you don't know who's going to connect. And I love the shout out that it's critically important that you make a decision on who you want to work with, because it doesn't matter. You can have a great amount of business if you are working with the people that are most likely like with you and that are going to follow your process and your system. If you've got somebody that comes in and is not going to follow what you've set up to be successful in that process, you have to let them go. There's not enough time in the day to work with the wrong clients, right, Mike?
Correct.
Yeah, great shout out. All right. So coming up next on Best in Seattle Real Estate Podcast, continued conversation with Mike Carnovale, Alchemy Real Estate.
So when submitting an offer on a home, the lender your buyer chooses to work with can make or break the offer based on their local reputation. Tina Mitchell, MLO 145420, has a stellar relationship in the real estate community. She has been awarded Partner of the Year from Washington Realtors, Media of the Year from Seattle King County Realtors, and Member of the Year from Women's Council of Realtors. With over 25 years in the mortgage industry, Tina has worked hard to establish her place in the mortgage space. For more information on how Tina is helping her buyers stand out next to their competition, go to TinaMitchellTeam.com. That's TinaMitchellTeam.com.
Welcome back to Best in Seattle Real Estate Podcast, sponsored by Hubbard Radio. I am your host and local mortgage expert, Tina Mitchell. Continued conversation with Mike Carnovale of Alchemy Real Estate. And are you a real estate agent looking for that one thing to take your business to new heights? Mike is here to motivate and inspire you to be your best. You will learn what he is doing and how you can implement his best practices into your real estate business. Today, Mike is sharing his strategies and mindset needed to be the best in the industry. Mike is here to inspire other agents to level up their real estate business. Mike, thank you again for taking time out of your busy day to be here with me and to share with other real estate agents why you are so successful.
Thanks, Tina.
So what is the most unique aspect to what you do, Mike?
Again, I think it is that I embraced taking on buyers. Where most of them go away from buyers, I embraced it. To this day, 30 million of my business is buyers. And and I never pursue listings, but I get 10 to 20 million dollars in listings just from all my buyers. Yeah. And my secret was I don't want to fight all the listings because everybody goes to listings. I was looking for the easiest route and that was with buyers. Some people might think that's not easy, but I thought that was an easier route to build my business quickly.
Yeah, and it was successful. And again, you've got the opportunity out there, whether you have the listings or not. You can offer to do an open house for another listing. And as we said in the first segment, most likely they're not going to buy that house. So you're earning that business on another house that they're going to be moving forward and purchasing. So, Mike, what is the single most important reason that you see success in your business?
Well, this goes back to more my years of experience running very high-end hotels to having 27 Papa John's myself. I'm just more of a business look, and I look at things in business terms. There's only 24 hours in a clock a day, and everything I do for business, it finishes that day. And if I'm not efficient with what I'm doing and knowing who I need to contact, then I lose all business that day. So anything I look at is how quickly can I make a transaction happen, and when will it happen? And I look at the other little secret I use is I don't care how many transactions I do. I look at how much revenue or how much revenue I've generated, like $3 million or $6 million in sales a month. I just know that if I can do 3 million in sales or 6 million in sales a month, everything will take care of itself. And it doesn't matter on how many transactions. Some people look at transactions, that's not relevant to me. It's how much, gross revenue I'm generating.
So hyper focus on the process and system that you run, which obviously has to be the same process you're running through the entire time to be most efficient, and then really focusing on the bottom line of that dollar amount, not the number of transactions.
Yeah, because I know some people who do 80 transactions, but they're doing it at a $300,000 house. That's a lot of work. I'm trying to do $1.5 million, $2 million, $3 million transactions. I do 800 and stuff, but I try not to go too far because I'm just one person. I'm making more money the higher the transaction is. Yes. So I'm really, in my open houses, I strategically pick the ones I want. I don't pick $300,000 open houses in the Seattle area. I pick 800, 3 million. I switch back and forth, and I move in these different directions because I know there might be some other houses on that area that are off market that I can say to this person, well, I've got another house for $3 million around the corner.
Yeah.
You're interested? And that's how it works.
That is great, Mike. And again, when you're strategic and making a decision on who your perfect client is going to be, you strategically choose where you're going to find that perfect buyer. So great information. My last question I have as we're wrapping up our time here is, how do you manage stress in your business, Mike?
Oh, I'm an exercise junkie. I exercise a lot, and so that keeps me pretty calm. And I think how it is. And I've always been able to handle high volumes of stress. It's never really bothered me. So in reality, some people don't like a lot of stress. Me, it's just another day, and I don't get bothered by huge volume of business or something that's not working normally. It usually just runs off my back, and I just go the next day. That's probably the easiest thing. But my exercising really helps me keep myself kind of mellow. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Exercise for the health benefit and also for the mind benefit, right? So if you're listening to the show, what are you doing in your morning and your evening activity? Because I'm not talking about what you're doing when you start in your office and you're working in the office. I'm talking about before you, soon as you get out of bed and right before you go to bed. What are those activities that you're doing to really get stay healthy in your body and healthy in your mind? So Mike, thank you again so much. I can't tell you how grateful I am that you are here on my show and you're willing to share your secrets, which it is a simple plan that is giving you results again in being in the top 0.5% in the entire nation of real estate agents. So I hope if you're listening to the show, you can take away from Mike's conversation and you can go take action right now to take your business to new levels and new heights, not only for you and your family, but then what you're able to contribute back to your community. So thank you, Mike.
Thank you.
Do you want to listen to Mike's show or any other recordings that I have with industry leaders in the real estate space? Go to Best in Seattle Real Estate, or you can catch my show on YouTube and all the podcast platforms. Tina Mitchell, your host and your local mortgage expert. Until next time.
Tina Mitchell, MLO 145420, is a licensed loan originator with Highlands Residential Mortgage Limited. The views expressed by the speakers on the preceding program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views of Highlands Residential Mortgage Limited, nor are they necessarily endorsed by Highlands Residential Mortgage Limited.